Hey guys, it's me Jennifer, and today I'm getting behind the wheel of Diamond, my 1967 Plymouth VIP. So let's get into it. So for the late 1960s, Plymouth needed something to compete with the Chevy Caprice and the Ford LTD. So for the 1966 through 1969 model years, Plymouth made the VIP, which was the top trim level of the fourth generation Fury. For 1967, the Fury got redesigned styling with the new slab side look. It also got a redesigned dashboard and the new flow-through air ventilation system, which pulled air from the front and out through these vents in the rear. Safety-wise, the Fury also got mounting points for shoulder belts as well as an energy-absorbing steering column. Now, the base price for a 67 four-door hardtop VIP like Diamond was $3,182, which was only $65 more than the two-door version. Now, the VIP was quite a bit more limited production than the LTD and Caprice. In fact, for 1967, only about 10,800 four-door hardtops were produced, plus about 18,700 two-doors. And that's compared to over 124,000 Caprices and over 110 LTDs. So what is Diamond's story? Well, in 2018, my now husband and I were talking about getting married. And I told him I didn't want something that if I took it off, it would just fall down the kitchen sink. So we both started looking for my engagement ring, and I found Diamond on Facebook Marketplace and just fell in love with her styling. She was only about 30 minutes away, so we went ahead, checked her out, took her for a test drive, and the next day I had my engagement ring, hence the name Diamond. Now, she wasn't perfect by any means, and she still isn't, admittedly, but that's all right because I wanted a project car. She had the typical C-body rust on the rear quarter panels, rust bubbling underneath her vinyl roof, as well as rust in the trunk pan. Inside, the lower steering column cover was cracked and just barely hanging on with some tape, and she needed new brakes. Now, I've done a lot of work on Diamond since we got her. I've gotten all the rust repair and body work done, new paint, new weather stripping. I've put Chrysler Cop wheels on her as a personal preference, and because they're large enough for disc brakes in the future. And I've also gotten her a new radiator and a power steering gearbox that has a little bit of a tighter, more modern feel. So originally Diamond came with a 383 cubic inch V8 engine with a 2-barrel carburetor, and that put out 270 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque. Now, at some point with a previous owner, Diamond's engine got swapped out for a 400 with a 2-barrel carburetor. And that was unfortunately a bit less powerful than the 383 thanks to emissions regulations. It actually put out only about 170 horsepower and 305 pound-feet of torque. The 400, though, is still made it up to a 727 TorqueFlite 3-speed automatic transmission that's sending power to the rear wheels. Now, Diamond is not a small girl. Being a full-size model, she actually weighs about 4,000 pounds and is almost 18 feet long with a 10-foot wheelbase. And as far as fuel economy goes in Diamond, it's definitely more like miles per gallon instead of miles per gallon. There was one time when I first got her and I was just kind of curious, like, okay, what kind of fuel economy does she get? And I measured it. It was a whopping 8 miles to the gallon. Now, she at least does have a 25-gallon fuel tank, so at least that helps extend the amount of time I get to drive in between trips to the gas station. Now, outside, Diamond has this lovely matte paint. This is actually her original color called dark blue metallic, just finished in an eggshell matte clear coat. Now, Diamond also has these VIP emblems on the fenders as well as on the trunk. Her 383 hood ornament, Commando V8 badge right here on the fenders. One of my favorite features ever, the fender mounted turn signals, and this lovely brushed aluminum trim that goes down the belt line of the car, which is also a nice way to tell that she is a VIP. Now inside, you get fake walnut and gold trim accents all throughout, as well as these gold medallions on the door panels and VIP emblems. There's also this nice large chrome 2-spoke steering wheel with the horn bar. Now the seats are super comfortable. It's almost like driving your living room couch. They're upholstered in the satiny fabric that has a bit of gold sparkle in it, as well as vinyl trim. There are also these gold buttons on the seat backs, and also individual armrests for the left and right front passenger. Now you'll notice something. The front bench seat is actually 2 individually adjustable seats, as well as there's only 1 headrest up front. And that's because for the VIP, you could actually individually spec these seats. And so the original owner decided it was a good idea to spend $20.95 to have just 1 headrest up front and not one for the driver. Also, the passenger seat comes with a little bit of extra comfort. You can recline it 45 degrees. Okay, maybe that's more than 45 degrees. And now Diamond also has a neat feature from back in the day. She has electric door locks. Unfortunately, they don't work in her, but hopefully sometime in the future, I can get them fixed. Now in the back seat, it's just as comfortable as it is up front. There's plenty of knee room, plenty of headroom, and you have enough space to lay down on the 5-foot wide couch. There's also a center armrest back here with the satiny fabric. And backseat passengers also get to enjoy ashtrays on the armrests on the door, as well as cigarette lighters on the back of the front seats and courtesy reading lights. Now back here in the trunk, she has a ton of room. There's actually 19.2 cubic feet of cargo space back here, which for reference, that's how much a standard refrigerator holds. Now, as far as driving goes, Diamond is definitely a big land yacht. She's a boat. She floats. Her suspension gets a little confused sometimes over bumps, but that's probably to be expected out of one of these cars. She's a total big cruiser, and that's the way I want to keep her. She's not really fast off the line. This engine is probably pretty tired, and being the 400 with 170 horsepower, there's not a ton of grunt. She does have a bit of body roll through the corners, which also is probably to be expected. Stopping wise, she does stop. It's not better than a modern car by any means, but she is a big 4,000-pound car with drum brakes at each corner at the moment. When she gets upgraded to disc brakes sometime in the future, panic stops will improve, but there has been one time when I panic stopped her. It was on the way to Cars and Coffee, and somebody pulled out in front of me from a side street, and that admittedly was pretty squirrely. Visibility though is really good in this car. There's so much greenhouse, so much glass. The A-pillars are pretty thin, and there are no real blockages to the sides. The B-pillars, if you can even call them B-pillars, just disappear into the doors when you roll down the windows. And usually when I'm driving her, I have all 4 windows rolled down. The view out back is really not bad. You got this nice wide mirror and a huge back window. Oddly for her size, I actually find her easy to maneuver. The steering is fairly firm, not like modern Audi firm or anything like that, but it's not sloppy, it's not loose or anything. It can go in the direction that you point her to. The one thing that I find myself having to pay attention to while driving her is the rear overhang. It is a lot of real estate behind those rear wheels. So when I'm backing into a parking spot or something like that, that's the one thing that I found that I've actually had to keep in mind. Otherwise, she is fairly easy to drive, and it's really easy to figure out where all 4 corners are on her. I really have no problem maneuvering her into parking spots or anything like that. And that's it. If you guys like this video, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And if you feel like helping support the channel, go ahead to thegearheadgirl.com and you can get access to exclusive content and some merchandise. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.